Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for joining me on this morning talk. It's going to be a short one. I'm about halfway to work already. But I was just listening to an NDE account, and I had to do a quick video. And basically the video I wanted to do on was I'm just letting you guys know, look, man, believe in whatever religion you want to believe in, whatever philosophy or, way you want to live, But I just want you guys to understand, look, on the other side, there is no religions, okay? There's no special book like the Bible or the Quran that everything is based off of. Those were all created by man, okay? And I want you guys to understand, look, I used to be the hardest core when I was younger, researcher of the Bible, studier, whatever you want to call it, like believer. I mean, I wasn't happy. I didn't go to church because I didn't like the fact that you go sit in a pew for 2 hours just to hear Pastor Dan, give you a verse or two and then talk about how that affected his life and how it'll help your life. And, it's just milk of the word stuff, They never teach the hardcore stuff in church, like the Old Testament, the nitty gritty parts, they never get into Revelation and any of that kind of stuff. So I wasn't happy with that. So I would deep dive into the Bible. I mean, I front to back to front with actual Bible scholars, teachers that taught word for word, and connected all the verses in different parts of different books of the Bible and such. And I mean, I was deep in it, folks. I was into the Bible code. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And, but what changed me from all that, or what moved me from all that, is that I started reading the cuneiform tablets. And this wasn't that long ago. I'd say this was about 10 years ago. And I started realizing that the Bible is not original source. In fact, it's not even close to original source, because I started also deep diving into Zoroastrianism, Mithraism, Platoism, the Egyptian mythologies. And the deeper I went into all these various texts, the Vedic and such, the Mahabharata, I started realizing that, wow, the Bible is not only is it not original source, it's plagiarized to such an insane degree that it's almost hilarious that other people don't know this or can't see this. But this is why, folks, because you're put in a fear matrix when you're in a religion. And this could go for Islam, Judaism, Christianity, and yes, even Hinduism. They put you into a fear matrix because they have to control you. The powers that be took what was ancient knowledge, ancient teachings to enlighten people and free people mentally and spiritually, and they figured out a way to tighten the knots on these books to twist and adjust things just enough that it was turned into a fear matrix control system. Heaven and hell, or the Eastern religions like Hinduism and Buddhism like to push karma, karmic debt. You're building up karma, Well, is karma any different than the hell, than the hell fear matrix thing? I mean, come on, really? How many Eastern people are always afraid that, oh my God, I messed up my karma. I'm gonna have to pay this karmic debt in the next lifetime and all this and that. Folks, it's all BS. It's all BS. That's why I keep telling you guys, go research NDEs. On the other side, folks, there's no religion. There's no right religion. It's all nonsense. And you'll find that every religion has a touch of truth and every religion has a bunch of BS. Well, when I started going through these ancient texts, like especially the the Atrahasis was just mind-blowing, because it's literally a lot of the story of Genesis and the Elohim, but it makes you realize the Elohim was never a one God, was never this Yahweh character. It was multiple gods. And then you realize that humanity was a type of experiment, or a type of, a hybridized species. I mean, think about it, folks. Genesis. Generations of Isis. Folks, do you know who Isis is? Okay, you know the Egyptian goddess, right? Folks, that is Ninmah. Ninhursag is one of her other names, depending on Akkadian, Sumerian, and such. She was the half-sister of Enki and of the half-sister of Enlil. She was the triad of Anu's children. She was the birthing goddess, okay? She was the one that carried Adam and Eve, the hybrids, to term. You can look up the cylinder seal where she's holding up the Adamu and says, "Look at what I created with my hands." And she's sitting across from Enki. And sometimes in between them is the tree of life. Folks, and I've done a breakdown of the tree of life multiple times. The tree of life is the encoding of the human DNA, of the hybridization of humanity, and it even shows in symbolism that they have to incept the spirit into the tree of life, which represents the human avatar. Okay? It's all there. Generations of Isis. Genesis. If you go tell a Christian this, they're going to say that's blasphemy. How dare you bring up Sumerian goddess, Egyptian goddess. We only have the one true God, Yahweh. Folks, Yahweh, even in the Bible, Yahweh didn't even show up until later. Yahweh was a Canaanite god, a minor Canaanite god, in fact. He wasn't even as powerful as El or Baal. And he had a consort named Asherah. It's that one tribe chose to make Yahweh their God in a time when Mesopotamian cultures were worshiping multiple gods. In fact, those multiple gods go all the way back to the original Sumerian. And now we're actually looking at this different. As timelines are getting pushed back to Göbekli Tepe, Karahan Tepe, Lake Van, a lot of the work that Matthew LaCroix and some of these other, Billy Carson, the work that these other guys are doing right now, researching that area, it's looking like this actually goes to Armenia. Turkey was actually the restart place for civilization. And they migrated south into Mesopotamia and established Sumer and Akkad. And all these city-states there. But they actually came from the north down south from the Turkey, Armenia area. So, all those stories, just folks, please read the Atrahasis. You'll see the flood narrative. Oh, you'll even see this wonderful god Enlil, who is a caricature of Yahweh. At least that's who the Paleolithic Hebrews made their Yahweh character from, was this Enlil character. And then later on, Yahweh was one of the Canaanite gods. But Enlil even brings plagues and stuff on humanity. Very similar to the stories of when Moses is battling the Pharaoh and his wizard, his court wizard, having this battle between, Yahweh and Moses and Pharaoh and his court wizard, and and he's bringing plagues on Egypt and all that. A lot of that's the same as what Enlil forces Enki to bring on humanity, and this is before the flood, because he's tired of humanity. There's too many. That the experiment, it went wild. The humans were expanding too quickly. They multiplied faster than the Anunnaki did, the Anuna, the Elohim, the shining ones, the powerful ones. They were overcoming their masters. They were becoming hard to control. So Enlil wanted to bring these plagues on humanity to I know we dismiss a lot of population, okay? I know we can't use that word that I'd like to use. That's how ridiculous this day and age is. And eventually, that when those things didn't work, he decided to bring the flood. But his brother, Enki, who he'd been forcing to bring all these plagues on humanity and do his dirty work, had gotten tired of it. So he went to Ziusudra, Utnapishtim, also known as Noah, in the Old Testament. And he spoke with them through the reed hut, through his house, and whispered to him, giving him warnings of the flood that was about to be sent to wipe out humanity off the face of the earth. He warned him. He gave him instructions on to build a ship, a device to survive. Now you got to understand, folks, Noah was not just some humble dude living out in the hills with this little family. He was a king. He was the king of Shuruppak. He was not some lowly person. He was a powerful person. And in fact, he was a hybrid himself. He was a further hybrid. He was through relations, let's just say Enki and Noah's mother got it on, okay? So Noah wasn't even a full human, Homo sapien. He was what some of you would call a Nephilim. And my God, I know this is going to start a firestorm, but go read the book of Enoch. You'll find the same exact thing. That it scared his father when he was born because he looked like one of the shining ones. Folks, the shining ones were the Anuna, the Elohim. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, but the point is that, look, all of your Bible stories are in the cuneiform, but the cuneiform's giving you the long form breakdown of it all. And you can see quite clearly this was multiple entities. It was not this Yahweh character. And in fact, the guy that they made the bad guy, Enki, he was depicted as the serpent in the biblical version of Genesis. Well, folks, the reason why he was depicted as a serpent was because the Enkiites, their family, were called the feathered serpents. They were, and you got to understand, in ancient times, the snake, the serpent, was highly looked after as a very intelligent, full of knowledge creature. And it doesn't mean an actual snake. It was because it was tied to that family line that brought humanity knowledge and wisdom. Remember even in the Bible, what does it tell you? Yahweh warns, or Yahweh, I should say, Enlil, don't eat from the tree of good and evil, right? The tree of knowledge, don't eat from it. Well, Adam and Eve went and ate from it. And then there's a snake there that beguiled them to do it. Think about this, folks. That was Enki. Enki was teaching Adam and Eve what they were. He was giving them the information, the truth, that Enlil was trying to hide from them. See, Enlil, he never actually liked humanity. Enlil, he only looked at us as a working slave class to relieve the struggles of his own people, his own working and military class called the Igigi, that were complaining. And this is in the Atrahasis too. They wanted to be, they were demigods. They didn't want to be, even on earth, they were demigods. I mean, we're all gods, folks. We are all gods. And I know that's going to ruffle feathers. I mean, we are all fractals of God, of source, energy. But these characters, they had the demigod powers on earth. They were not bound by the rules of the game like we are. And so these demigods, they knew a lot of the knowledge and stuff. And they were teaching humanity these things. Well, Enlil just wanted to relieve the complaints and the workload of his Igigi, because they were complaining. They were having to do physical labor in this third dimensional construct. And they just like us, the realm they come from, you manifest what you need. You have, and if they had a civilization based somewhere else in this construct, they'd already had the technology to do most of the manual labor for them. So humanity was a hybridized species from the hominids that were already walking the earth. They mixed their DNA with us. They upgraded us. And then they needed us as workers, as a working class. And for those of you that scoff at this, folks, what do you think you still are? Huh? Where do you go at work when you need to update your benefits, right? Look at your paycheck. You go to your human resource manager, human resource officer, right? Your human resource. Think about this, folks. What does the Bible tell you? You're a sheep, right? What is the, oh wow, I can't even say that word. The mood towel. We'll say that. No, it's so, my God, I don't want to bring these people down on me. They're really psychotic. Anyways, that one calls us all cattle, right? Isn't it funny? The ones who rule the world through the money system call us cattle. Those that rule us through religion call us sheep. And your work calls you human resource. And guess what your government calls you? When you're born with that Social Security number, that they call you a collateral on the debt. Yeah, that's all you are to your government. You're a collateral on the debt. Because they keep racking it up, enriching themselves, stealing, money laundering. And then they take it off your hide, put the debt on you, under a disgusting, evil money system that they all run to steal your energy, your intellect, your life, your time. But folks, look, we all know when we come to this realm, we know what we face. We know that these are the rules of the game, and we know the way that this world is. Now, I'm not saying we can't change this world, folks. That's what the Great Awakening's about. It's that we are starting to understand again that we are gods. Little g gods, that is, for those of you in the Christian world that would want to attack me. And we're starting to realize that Yeshua was a real person, master teacher, in fact, our brother. But his teachings were hijacked by the power structure to put people under a fear matrix. Just like it's happened time and time again, folks. Religions are part of the control mechanism. I've said the 3 pillars of control that everything falls under is religion, government, and banking. Okay? For those of you that think religion is a positive thing, well, it could be. I mean, sometimes people don't know how to act. Sometimes people don't think for themselves, don't research. They just like to be told what to think. And most religions push morality. I mean, think about this, folks. When you go back to the Atrahasis and you read about how wild humanity was, the Anunnaki understood, look, we got to come up with a system to put these people in line, to put some fear in them. They understood even then that you could control humanity with fear. So after the flood, they established religions. Okay? And at first, the Anunnaki made themselves the gods on earth, walking amongst man. And humanity would worship them. You would have a city state, and you would have the main temple in that city state, and whichever Anunnaki controlled that city, they'd have the biggest temple in the middle of the city state. And people would bring their offerings to that temple. Okay? People would get instruction about morality from that temple. And all of a sudden now you were starting to put humanity under control because they were starting to worship something higher than themselves. They believed, and that these were moral characters that were giving them good instruction. And so it started to give a balance to civilization. It started to bring a calmness from the chaos, so to speak. So look, folks, I'm not saying religion's all bad. There was a reason for religion, okay? But you follow this all the way back, you'll realize that all of that worship, it's mostly astrotheology, and it's Anunnaki worship, or Anuna. For those of you, there's still people who always like send me these nasty messages saying Anunnaki's not a real word, it's not in the cuneiform. I beg to differ. I've read hundreds of cuneiform tablets that says either Anuna or Anunnaki. Anuna was the ancient Sumerian name for the Elohim. Later on, the Akkadians, Babylonians called them the Anunnaki. Okay? I get so tired of people that like, it's so funny. People that don't research anything, that like see like one debunking video from some leftist, like, total controlled opposition person from mainstream academia, because they know their shit's all being unfolded right now too, just as much as religious bullshit's being unfolded. They're clawing and scraping, trying to hold together their narratives of Darwinism and hunter, the hunter-gatherer like narrative and all this BS, man. Just like the religious side is. They're losing it, so they put out these disinformation, and then you have these losers that, don't research or do anything, and they just grab onto one of these videos or one of these memes or something, and then they just run around like yelling at people like me, oh, you're lying, there's no such thing as Anunnaki. But, they probably never actually read a cuneiform tablet. They've probably never searched it up. They probably never broke down what it even means. It's simple, folks. Anu was the father, the Most High, to the Anunnaki. Yes, he's in your Bible, folks. He's called El Elyon. See, even in the Bible, there were different Anunnaki in there, Anuna. But they tried to make it into one God, Yahweh. Jehovah, right? Look how much later Jehovah shows up in the Old Testament. Well, Anu was El Elyon, the Most High. And he had a consort. And that was Ki. Ki means earth. Anunnaki. From heaven to earth they came. Folks, we all came from heaven to earth, okay? Now, I'm not saying that we are, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're the ones that came from the realm we came from, but they came here directly. Not going through the female womb, the portal, and that they came here directly with abilities from heaven. I don't know. And I'm speaking of heaven as just as far as the dimension we come from, the higher vibratory realm, okay? But regardless, from heaven to earth they came, okay? It's that simple. That's all Anunnaki means. It's like these people are like trying to like nitpick something that's simple. It's all in the cuneiform. I mean, they're named after the father and the wife, the consort, the father and mother, okay? And then their children was Enki, known as the serpent, at least to you biblical people. And Enlil, who is also known as Ahura Mazda in the Zoroastrian, and is known as Yahweh in your Bible. And then you had their half-sister, who was part of this triad of siblings. And her name was Ninmah, also called Ninhursag, also called Isis, also called Venus. Or sorry, not Venus, sorry folks. That's Inanna. That was the granddaughter of Enlil. Inanna, Ishtar. Venus. Anyways, sorry to mix that word up there. So anyways, folks, look, it's all there. Just go back. That's all you got to do. That's why I always tell people, if you need to know everything going on the earth right now, just go back. Follow all the way to the back to the beginning, and you'll start to see. I've already told you guys about Inanna's descent into the underworld, how that's a very similar story, very similar breakdown of the spring equinox, almost exactly coincides with Yeshua's resurrection. And it also is an example, a allegory of how our spirits go on the hero's journey, come from a higher dimension. We set aside all of our abilities that we have in that dimension. We lose all those powers when we come into this realm. And then when we die, there's a 3-day purification process before we're able to enter back into the home we came from. Because Earth has a lot of crap here, okay, folks? And when you're going back into a realm of pure love and light and understanding, you have to shed and cleanse before you go back there, right? It's kind of like when there's a quarantined zone from I don't even know how to say this so the censors don't get mad about this. A disease, and they have to quarantine, right? Well, you'll watch the FEMA, or sorry, not the FEMA, the what do you call them? Anyways, the guys that come out, the CDC people or whatever, you see them in those suits, right? When they come out, they have to go through a cleansing process, decontamination chambers they will go through. They have to take like a shower that cleanses them off, and all, UV lights, and there's this whole process they go through to get decontaminated before they can leave that quarantined area. Folks, that's what we do. That's what the 3 days of resurrection stands for. And it also is about the spring equinox, where the sun doesn't move in the sky for 3 days. And then when it starts rising again, he is risen, right? The sun is risen. Look, folks, I'm not putting down Yeshua. Yeshua is way more than we've ever been told. Way more. Way more. And I've done many talks on that. So I got to go right now. But anyways, folks, I don't even know if I stuck with the subject. I just wanted people to understand, like, look, do the research. You're going to find out that what you've been told is all a lie. Religion is part of the lie. Okay? There is no religions on the other side. That's all made for Earth. And it was all designed to control us. And yes, at one time, and it does have a good... Look, some people live very good... A lot of your Sunday pew sitters are very good people. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? But most of them are well-meaning, good people. And that gives them the direction they need in life to stay moral, to do what they think is right. And that's fine. I'm not trying to say throw that out, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying leave that. If that's what resonates with you, then stick with it. If Hinduism resonates with you, stick with it. If Islam does, stick with it. What I'm trying to say is that that's all made for this realm. Has nothing to do with the next realm. And the reason why your pastor, your imam, your guru, or whoever is not going to tell you that is because they need you to follow their system while you're here, because most of them, their livelihoods is based on that, okay? If they told everybody the truth, if Pastor Dan told everybody the truth, they'd all leave his church. Then Pastor Dan would be getting a real job, okay? Instead of teaching off the Reader's Digest version of all the ancient knowledge that they stole from. And, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that because I wanted to say more, but we're going to be looking at a new level of censorship coming up, folks. I'm just telling you. And a lot of paradigms are going to be shattered. And let's just say there are a group of people on this world that have always been behind the control mechanisms of this realm. And let's say that they are tied to Yahweh. And let's say that this Yahweh was never the good guy. He was always the bad guy. Then things start to make sense. I'll just leave it at that. You read between the lines, okay? Just saying. Okay, guys. Well, anyways, oh, I don't want to go to work, but I got to go into work. So, hey, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Hit me up if you want to do a one-on-one Zoom and your donation for my time. And anyways, guys, I'll talk to you later.